Trying to practice your talk but not sure how to go about it? I've got some tips for you. Welcome to Communication Q&A. My name is Lauren Sergi and I am here to answer your questions about communication and public speaking for work, business, and beyond. If communication skills are important to you, please click that like button and subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date on my latest communication-related content. Today, I've got a very succinct question from Jonathan, who asks, "Hi Lauren, how do you practice?" Thank you for your conciseness, Jonathan. There are many different ways people practice their talks, and the way I practice will vary depending on my mood, my energy levels, how close I am to presentation day, and so on. But at all times, I follow 5 specific directives for effective public speaking practice. Number 1, practice out loud. You must practice your presentation out loud. This is not negotiable. Doing it in your head doesn't count. Different areas of our brain are used for different activities like talking out loud, reading, and thinking silently. Public speaking is a spoken form of communication, so you need to activate that talking section of your brain. There's no way around it. Practicing out loud is necessary. If you feel uncomfortable or you keep stalling out when you try to practice out loud, start by whispering. This can make that out loud part feel a little less jarring and help you get over that self-consciousness hurdle. You'll still be using those critical talking brain neurons, and as you get into it, you can start speaking in your regular non-whisper voice. Remember though, whispering is a strategy for getting you past the self-conscious mental block. At some point, you need to make sure to use your full voice, so be certain you get in a couple of full volume practice runs before your presentation date. Directive number 2, practice as you create your presentation. Don't save your practice until the end, do it throughout the development process. Saying your ideas out loud lets you hear them, and they often sound different coming out of your mouth than they do in your head. You can test and iterate and adjust anything that isn't working early in the presentation development process, and that saves a lot of time and effort when you get into editing and polishing your talk. Plus, practicing throughout your development process means that you will have put in a ton of solid, meaningful practice time by the time you finalize your talk. Those final few practice runs where you go through the whole thing, start to finish, will be easier and more effective. Directive number 3, practice in the same manner that you'll be presenting. If I'm practicing for an in-person talk, I practice standing up. I picture that stage or that room where I'll be speaking and I move around. I gesture to people. I pretend like I'm responding to comments from the audience or pausing while they laugh as if I was really there. I go through my slide deck using my clicker and so on. If I'm practicing for a virtual talk, I'm in front of the computer, usually using a platform like Zoom. This lets me practice in the same technological environment. I use the interface tools, stop and start screen sharing with my slide deck, and so on. I'll ask my audience to answer polls or type something into the chat box, and I practice responding to those poll results and chat box comments, just like I'll be doing in the live presentation. Number 4, practice handling mistakes. A crucial public speaking skill is being able to deal with mistakes during your presentation. No performance is perfect, and seamlessly dealing with tech problems or brain blanks takes practice. When I'm finalizing my talk, I practice moving through mistakes I make without stopping or backtracking. After all, when you're in front of a live audience, you have to be able to handle problems on the fly. And that takes, you guessed it, practice. The final directive is to practice in pieces and build up to full run-throughs. Many people think they have to go through their whole presentation in a single practice session, but this isn't the case. That approach can actually be overwhelming and makes it hard to get your presentation firmly inside your head because you're processing too much and not really letting what you learned in practice sink in. When actors work on a play, they go scene by scene, often focusing on workshopping just a few lines at a time. Everything gets broken down so that the actors can dig deep into small chunks of script at any given point in time. The same holds true for presentations. You want to practice it in small, manageable pieces. So break your presentation down into bite-sized chunks. Most of my practice is spent working on segments about 5 to 10 minutes long. I run through that segment many times in one practice session and then work on other chunks later. Breaking your practice down into manageable pieces also helps you sneak in more practice throughout your day, which really does add up over time. I have a video on what I call sneaky practice that I will link to in the description down below. Now, as you get closer to your presentation date, start knitting those chunks together and practice bigger and bigger sections until you're doing full run-throughs a couple of days before your presentation. Something to remember, Jonathan, is that practicing is messy and often awkward. That's just how creative work goes. I stop, I start, I make mistakes. I get frustrated, and sometimes I throw sweary little tantrums. I worry that I sound terrible and that it's never going to come together. That's normal. The point of practice is to make those mistakes, to change your mind and tweak your content, to try out different things and see what works. Embrace the mess. It's all part of the process. I hope this insight into how I practice gives you some ideas for your own process, Jonathan. Now, if you are ready to really level up your presentations, I recommend you check out my online program, Business Presentation Mastery, a full suite course where I take you through my signature process for creating and giving outstanding talks. And yes, that includes more information and tips on how to practice. You can check out the program at laurensergi.com/BPM. The link is in the description down below. Thanks so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Communication Q&A.